Is spiritual sickness derailing your journey to recovery?
Well, we're going to talk about how to get back on track here today on My Sober Truth. Well, it's May 23rd, and it's time for another double shot of My Sober Truth. So, Sean, today is all about spiritual health.
Yes.
And it's kind of interesting to talk about because, a lot of these 12-step programs being very inclusive.
Yeah.
Talking about higher power, sometimes spirituality and a person's individual spirituality kind of gets lost in the mix, and it's not an important thing, but
right.
The concept of spiritual health kind of supersedes the whatever label you come in wearing in that situation. And it's an interesting concept that they talk about because one of the signs of illness that even today's reading talk about is the inability to ask others for help.
Right.
So let's step back into your journey and go back to the beginning. And how did your level of spiritual health coming into recovery impact you as you moved forward?
Well, I would say that I didn't really have a level of spiritual health. I was maybe below negative level in spiritual health. My life was run amok on ego. That was the only thing really holding me together. I was so down and I was so bad off and I disliked myself so much. The only way I could stay living was to remind myself how much I loved myself and how awesome that I was. But it was, for lack of a better way to put it, it was BS. Right. It was all BS. It was a big, huge wall that I had put up to kind of separate myself from others. Instead of being inclusive, I was exclusive. It didn't seem that way. It seemed like I had lots of friends. It seemed like I did. And I guess in some ways I did. But the thing was, we talked about in the last episode about well, this very much goes back to that. I had this huge ego and it was all about me. There was no we in anything. If it was to be, it was up to me. I grew up with that mantra. And the problem was that I didn't like myself. And so I drank and drugged to cover that up. And it was not a good way to live. As far as my spiritual fitness, I had to start losing some ego before I could start getting some spiritual fitness. I had to realize, and I had to admit to myself that I wasn't all that.
Right.
That I was actually a very sick person and I needed help. And man, that was a tough pill to swallow. But the morning of that I got sober, one of the questions that I finally answered in my own head that morning was, I had told myself I could quit and I could quit and I could quit, and I'd tried and failed and tried and failed and tried and failed. And a lot of the times I wasn't looking to quit, I was looking to moderate. I was just trying not to be so crazy and have such a crazy life. But what happened that morning was I realized that I couldn't quit. And I had tried as many times as I could try, and I couldn't stop. The only way that I might be able to stop was with some help. So once I admitted to that, then this other stuff started coming much clearer, especially once I started doing the work of learning about myself.
It points back to exactly what's said in this reading today, to recognize and admit my weakness is the beginning of spiritual health.
Absolutely.
And so that's amazing.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Absolutely.
So I'll ask you this question.
Okay.
What's changed in your life since making that commitment to focus on your spiritual health? Well,
just the biggest thing is the way I conduct myself regularly or normally. So one of the things some of the things that I've learned are the causes of my pain.
Right.
I don't like to be in pain. The thing that I used to use to help cope with my pain was drugs and alcohol.
Yeah, and it started causing you more pain.
And that started causing me more pain, and I finally got to a point where the drugs and alcohol weren't working. They didn't help me cope anymore. Right. Well, now I have other tools in my toolbox to cope with whatever's going on in my life. And one of the first tools in that toolbox is something goes wrong, Well, let's deal with that now.
Right.
Instead of stewing on it. Let's go ahead and get that out in the open, uncover it, look at it, say some I'm sorries, mean the I'm sorries. The people who know me the best these days know that if I say I'm sorry, I mean it, and I'm gonna try not to do it again.
Right.
Because I'm sorry, I used to say I'm sorry all the time, but I still did the same thing over and over.
Right.
So that's probably one of the biggest things is understanding that my ego is what kept me locked out of being able to do all that. So now I can have a problem, I can do something wrong, but I recognize it, I deal with it, and then let's move on. We don't have to worry about that thing anymore.
I love it. I love it. As we wrap up, I want to ask the viewers this same exact question I just asked you. So what about you? What's changed in your life since you've made a commitment to focus on your spiritual health? Think about your answer. Put it down in the comment section below. We can't wait to read what you have to say on this subject, and we can't wait for what you have to say to help someone else here today on the journey. And on that note, for My Sober Truth, I'm Mark.
Hey, and I'm Sean, and here's hoping that today you stay drunk with success.
Goodbye.
Love y'all. Hi, folks. Thanks for watching. If you're ready for another round of My Sober Truth, then belly on up to mysobertruth.com and click on the double shot button today. There you'll find the daily inspiration, encouragement, and support that'll help you stay clean, on track, and growing in every area of your life. Be sure to subscribe to this channel, and if you got a minute, stick around, watch another video. Love y'all.